Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Matt here, and I just wanted to give you kind of an update on some things that are going on. I'm gonna do a larger video for YouTube, but I wanted to do one specific for my patrons, just because I really appreciate you guys, and I want to let you know kind of what's gonna be happening in the future. And I also just want to say, again, I know I say it all the time, but thank you so much. It's still crazy to me that even just, a tight-knit group of people would want to give their money to me to do this stuff. It's just crazy. Some of that is like imposter syndrome, and some of that is just never having done this before. So it's just, thank you so much. I just want to start off by saying that, and I really appreciate everyone's encouragement. And I've gotten some really kind messages from people, and so yeah, I just want to thank you guys. I really appreciate all of you. So the next thing I want to talk about is the fact that I've moved. So I'm in a new office space now. So it's not terribly relevant to the podcast, but it's just something I want to tell you guys because it definitely has affected my content output. I haven't been able to do many interviews or put out much stuff in the past few weeks because we moved, and my kid has the flu, which is kind of a double whammy. That's why I'm being kind of quiet right now, because he's getting some rest in the other room. So that's been rough, but I've tried to continue just whenever I can to make content, and that sort of leads into my next point, where I have been giving a lot of thought to Composer Code on YouTube, because as many of you probably know, that I upload all my podcast to YouTube. And listening to some content from this guy, he hosts a show called The Audacity to Podcast. And he had this one episode, and it naturally caught my attention because it was like, should you put your podcast, your audio only podcast, on YouTube? And he gave some really, really solid reasons why it's actually a terrible idea to put an audio only podcast on YouTube. And by that I just mean like a static image and audio playing underneath it. I won't get into all of the reasons. I highly encourage you, if you're wondering about that, to read that, or listen to that podcast. I'll link it in the description. But that's just not the kind of content that I really want to put on YouTube. It always feels kind of cheap to me when I see a thumbnail and I click it and it's not a video. It's just a still image with a podcast. And at the end of the day, YouTube is a video platform. It's meant for video. It's not meant for static images set to audio. That's sort of a gaming of the platform, And because of that, there are reasons that the algorithm and the way YouTube works will actually punish you. And I just haven't been seeing a lot of engagement on the YouTube videos. I mean, there's some, and I appreciate it. But man, I don't know if you guys know this, but I would say 80% of my process, no, not 80%, a big percentage, maybe 50% of my process is preparing the podcast to go on YouTube. And it's really time consuming. I mean, believe it or not, it's really time consuming. I have to, create a custom thumbnail for each guest. I have to export that, put that in Reaper. I have to, bounce the whole file as an MOV, which takes a really long time. And then I have to convert the file to a YouTube encoder, H.264 with Handbrake. It takes a really long time. And, it's not worth the work from what I see, and it's just not something that I'm gonna do going forward. So, that said, this is actually really good news for people who like Composer Code, and for you, I hope, because this means that I'll be able to focus more on creating higher quality audio content, not spreading myself too thin, trying to put everything on YouTube, and being able to focus on interviewing more guests and talking to more composers, because that's what matters. I mean, that's what matters. So that's what I'm gonna do going forward. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I definitely am more than willing to have a conversation. So that means if you are subscribed to me on YouTube, you won't see the podcast show up on YouTube anymore. It'll be strictly on my website and on your podcast app of choice. I will be posting Facebook notifications and Twitter posts when I do, or tweets when I do post the podcast. So you will be able to listen to it even if you don't have a podcast app, just by following me on social media. And I'll put those links on the screen right now. The next thing I want to talk about is I've decided to niche down completely into video game music. I talked to a few like YouTube creators and people who did film stuff, but they've all done like video game stuff as well. So really, it's not a huge relevant issue. But before, I would say, like in my intro, composer code is for media composers, right? Film, podcast, video game. And I'm realizing that those are two very, very different worlds, film and video game. And my heart is in the video game space. And there's enough there's enough talent in that space, in composers, to keep me busy for a really long time. So I'm going to focus on video games, which I think everyone is cool with, because most people who follow me are into that stuff anyway, so that's not a big deal. Another thing that I want to talk about is the end goal of this podcast is really to package all of this information into an easy to digest, convenient medium. So I know there's some incredible insights, and I've learned so much from interviewing these composers, but I realized that I'm going on more than that. I'm going on like 20 to 23 hours of interview time, and I know not everybody wants to sit through that. And so my question for you guys is, would you be interested if by the time I reached my goal of interviewing maybe 30 more composers, 40 more composers, when I felt ready, if I published a book? I just want to know, would you guys read that? And I really want you to pause this video or do whatever and comment, because I don't want to create or write a book that no one will read. And if my audience doesn't like reading books, then obviously I'll maybe think of a different way to package the information. But I think it'd be really, really cool to write a book about everything I've learned, and really like the ultimate guide to becoming a video game composer. Because I'm just learning so much, and on every end of the spectrum, business, the craft of composition, and I just feel like it could be super useful for people who want to do this either as a job or just as a hobby. So let me know if you guys would read a book. Let me know in the comments what you guys would prefer. Do you like courses? Do you like books? Do you like ebooks? What are the kids reading these days? Let me know in the comments. That'd be awesome. So I know that everybody talks about Discord. I want to gauge you guys' interest. Are you interested in a Discord server? Is that something that would be beneficial to you? There's like a bajillion of them. We could talk about the interviews, we could talk about music composition, we could talk about getting gigs in the industry. I can give you all the advice and knowledge that I have, which is limited, but I'm getting it from other professionals, so hopefully I can be somewhat helpful. Is a Discord channel something that we should work on? I don't want to pepper you guys with unnecessary things, but just let me know if you would be interested in a Discord channel. I know there's like everyone and their mother has one now, and then can become kind of annoying. So just let me know if that's something you want to do. I'm kind of a noob when it comes to that stuff. And that's it, guys. That's really all I wanted to talk about. So yeah, the biggest thing is kind of niching down in video games, considering writing a book. I really want you guys' feedback, and I'm kind of putting YouTube on pause. But the other thing I want to say is I love creating content for YouTube, and I've created lots of content for YouTube. Well, not lots of content for YouTube, but I've created some really fun videos on like analysis of the Zelda themes, and you can check that out on my channel. I called it like the Lakeside Lab, because that was kind of like the name of the place in Ocarina of Time that you meet the creepy dude with the that cool little rhythm. Lakeside Lab. Anyway, I want to make more content like that, but I want to do quality content, not just uploading a thumbnail with audio underneath it. So let me know what kind of content you guys would like to see on YouTube. honestly. I could talk about music business, I could talk about theory, I could talk about composition, I could talk about, like, we could just geek out about video game music in general. Just let me know. I just want to hear from you guys. So I'm just having fun doing this stuff. It's a really cool creative outlet, and it's been really fun meeting you guys and meeting these interviewees, and just becoming a better composer and helping other people become better composers. It's awesome. So I hope to keep doing it. Thank you guys again, and please let me know your feedback in the comments. You guys are awesome, and we'll talk soon. All right, bye.